Brooklyn, New Jersey, and the tri-state area. Today, we're going to do a little different thing for you today. We're going to bring out some Nets Twitter legends. Let's talk basketball. Bam. It's another Brooklyn Nets Weekly.
Happy Saturday.
And again, if we were to sit here and talk about the team, the conversation would just be one long Sean Marks hand job. And I don't think anyone needs that.
Although I will point out, I did predict the Chicago loss.
You did. You did.
I felt that one.
You were very accurate. I thought we would go 4-0, but it didn't turn out that way. We got KD back, but even more exciting, we brought on a Nets Twitter legend, a cat that if you don't follow him, then you're not a real Nets fan. Because
he's a worthy adversary.
I like sparring with him. And you know what? Sometimes we argue and we both agree. Sometimes we're mad at each other and we both agree. But that's basketball. That's basketball takes. And with that, I'm going to bring on Bruce. Bruce, say what up to the people.
What's up to Nets family, tri-state area, bandwagon fans, the stands, everybody, man. Welcome. Thanks for having me on.
We need them. We need them all.
We certainly do.
I like the exclusive little crew. Like I like that I recognize most of the fans and I have relationships with different people at Barclays when I go. I like the intimacy of our fan base. Sometimes it messes with my head to see them get talked about on First Take, but that's what comes with it, isn't it, Bruce?
Yeah, absolutely. It's weird, man. You know, being a fan from 2001 in Jersey and being on Twitter since 2009, you know, I feel like there's a couple hundred of us that are for Nets fans. And now when I have a conversation on Nets Twitter and I'm going back, I mean, I'm getting likes from like 30, 40, 50, 60 people I've never even heard of, like KD fans and Harden fans. And it's very, very strange. It's still, you know, the team is surreal. I've never, you know, experienced winning like this in my life. And also the fan experience is very different too. Like you said, First Take. You know, if I turn on the fans, sometimes they're talking about the Nets other than Evan Roberts. It's very strange.
It's strange, but at the same time, it was the only thing that could eventually happen. It was either going to go this way or organically get there in the sense of the competition, the product across the bridge. I mean, with a 70-year jump and head start of having this city to themselves, I think it's amazing that the Nets are doing as well as they're doing. You know, Bam, is it meeting your expectations as a New Yorker who roots for the Nets and always have?
Well, the weird thing is in my small bubble of my own personal world, I still don't really know any other Net fans besides my brothers and my father. I've got one friend who would say he's a Nets fan, but you know, he'll pick it up when the playoffs start. So I still get hit with the daily shit talk from Knicks fans, despite our record, despite what's going on. You know, they focus on all the ancillary stuff. So when Kyrie's out, and this is why Bruce, like early in the year, I go nuts because I can't take it. I can't take when the Nets early this season, they had expectations and they weren't doing well. Everything you saw on Twitter was the shit my friends were going to give me if this went south. It was that fear of, oh my God, could we actually put something together like this and not work? This, I was talking shit for months. But at this point, you know, they've settled us all down. Like, even like people very rarely freak out during games. And it's all about just getting to the playoffs. And I think we all can't wait for that.
I think the weirdest of all the phenomena is that you even have celebrity Nets fans that just came out of the blue. I will admit, homeboy from what's the name of the damn show? The where the robots look real. Something World.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Come on, man. It's on
The
HBO.
HBO show?
Yeah.
That's at the tip of my tongue. Westworld? Is it Westworld?
There you go. Thank you,
Westworld.
Bruce, for the win. Westworld. Jeffrey Wright, the actor.
Yeah.
He's
Awesome.
He's tweeting about the Nets now, and he was my neighbor for years. I used to live on Washington Park, and he was he used to just be out there with a surly look on his face walking his dog. And a dog I don't think he liked. But he's a Nets fan, and he's tweeting and talking shit too, and Andrew Yang and all the other nonsense that's going on. I think we should welcome it. I think we should embrace it. Bruce, as a OG diehard, are you embracing this fuckery?
Yeah, I like it. It's surreal. That's the word I keep coming back to. I like it though, man. I like seeing Jeffrey Wright, actor, blue checkmark guy, live tweeting Nets games like the rest of us, like talking about TLC sucking, or talking about how the refs don't give Kyrie enough calls when he's in the paint. Like he's one of us. It's nice.
Jeffrey got
I
TLC
don't mind it if it's somebody I don't know.
Really?
If it's somebody I know, I'm not allowing it.
Oh, come on, Bam.
Yeah. Well, I get somebody who was used to be a Bulls fan, or I've got a friend who's a LeBron guy, so now he's a Laker fan. He's texting me shit talk. I'm like, bro, you're not a Laker fan. You used to like the Cavs, then the Heat, then the Cavs you're not a Laker fan. So I don't want to hear this shit talk about the Lakers. Those people I won't allow. Outside of it,
that's fair.
We need it. Yeah, we need it.
How does I assume your friend's in his 30s, right? Late 20s, early 30s?
Who's that?
The LeBron fan.
He's my age. He's 35.
Okay. How does a 35-year-old man become a player stan?
I have no idea. In fairness to this kid, he's been doing this forever. He was a Mike Vick guy. He did stick with the Falcons after it, but once LeBron got in the league, he was just I'm a LeBron fan. People congratulate him on when the Lakers win the title. And I'm like, dude, that's not a championship. That's not, you don't congratulate someone because they follow LeBron everywhere he goes and he wins the title, every so often. That's not how I would congratulate somebody for their team winning a title.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That's
Yeah.
that's the new generation of fans.
It's
the
video
14
game.
24-year-olds.
Yeah, it's video games.
It is.
It's NBA 2K. You're not really associated with the player. I mean, with the team, you're associated with the player you like to use on the game. And
yeah, I know some Bulls fans, but they stuck with them post Jordan, and they still follow the team we follow the Nets. So I'm like, all right, I get it. You were 7 or 8 years old, Jordan. Maybe your dad wasn't a fan, or nobody in your family liked the team, so you stuck with the Bulls. But as long as you stick with them after it, I'm okay. I'll accept that.
I completely agree. I got friends who are Bulls fans. I'm 33, so they grew up with Michael Jordan. Now they're still Bulls fans. Cool, that's fine with me.
Cowboys, the same.
Oh,
yeah, I know
they're the
Cowboys
most
fans.
despicable of the bunch. I feel like no, I am a Brooklyn fan, and it's weird. My grandfather didn't talk a lot. World War II vet.
Okay.
He's who moved us and brought us to Brooklyn as a family to Brooklyn a long time ago, and he was a Dodgers fan. Jackie Robinson was his neighbor. Our street is now named Jackie Robinson Way, and so my fandom comes from his heartache when Jackie Robinson when the Dodgers left Brooklyn. He became an agnostic New York City fan. He was like, well, we live in New York City, so we just root for whatever in New York City. And we never really had a football team or a baseball team. It was pretty much all right, we're the Yankees because my dad really was a big Reggie Jackson fan. but my grandfather is the roots of it, and it was weird. Scoop Jackson put out I guess it was a video editorial, or that I found on Twitter, and he explained how LA owes Brooklyn some championships, and goes through the story. And I thought of my grandfather. It was amazing, but that I realized that moment of watching that is how my fandom is distilled between a father who was just like, you know what, we're from New York, we root for New York, whenever New York is winning. And for the first time, really being a fan of one thing, as in the Nets, like it's kind of amazing, and it's tied into like my Brooklyn ties. So it's weird. You guys are more tied to the team over time as the Nets, but I am a diehard Brooklyn Nets fan, and I think that's different. I think it's
yeah. My dad is a Net fan and a Giant fan. I'm a Nets fan and I'm a Giant fan. My brothers are older than me. They're Nets fans and Giants fans. It was like I was born into it. There was no choice to be made.
Yeah. Bruce, have you noticed that Nets Twitter is very quiet? It's like we don't know what to say to each other right now.
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I think Nets Twitter thrives on chaos and negativity and the blame game, and
right.
It's weird. We're not used to winning. You see it every so often in the Bulls game. I saw it a little bit, or if we have a slow start at the beginning of the game, you see the panic, the chaos. Prime example: KD's first game back. KD's in the starting lineup. A couple minutes before the game, KD's not starting, and it was like, Malik Andrews like, yeah, he's not starting, he'll still be playing, and it was like conspiracy theory world on Nets Twitter.
Right. We went back to being the original Nets Twitter.
Yeah.
And that was when we didn't see him.
So Bruce is a composed fan. Like you're not an emotional guy. There's no knee jerks with you, which is the practical way to live. But in my estimation, Twitter is for me to like tell the Nets to fuck off and for someone to hear it, because there's no one else for me to say it to. I'm watching a game by myself. My friends hate the Nets, so I'm not going to give them any satisfaction. I go to Twitter and I find Bruce when he's calm, and I want to be like, Bruce, the coach fucking sucks. This guy sucks. They can't inbound the ball late in game. And I hate Bruce. He doesn't take the bait unless it's Brooklyn Beat. Brooklyn Beat is the one guy who can get you going.
Yeah, just because I think he's so stupid. Because he gets under my skin. Like I get under your skin for being like an eternal optimist and calm during Nets games even when they're losing. He gets under my skin because I just want to shake him.
You know why I'm right with BB? Because when I have to give BB credit when I'm wrong, right? He was all Harden all day, and I really, really underestimated what Harden was, and I didn't. And you know what? I didn't know who he was. I just knew what the facts of what he was when or how he left or how he was negotiating his leaving.
Yeah.
And this is not a normal human being. This is not a normal person. And I think he was one of the, and as well as you, Bam, but BB was one of the people who was really a staunch a Harden guy. But he also was a Bradley Beal guy. I think Bradley Beal would have ruined this team.
I agree with you there. And I like BB too. We get along personally, even though we battle on the Twitter timeline. And he was also correct that I wasn't like you with Harden, but I wanted Harden. But I was afraid that if we lost our depth, what was going to happen? And he kept saying, we're going to sign some guys. We're going to sign some guys. Like you won't even remember the depth. And here we are with LaMarcus Aldridge, and Blake Griffin and Bruce Brown. And
it sounds ridiculous, right?
It does.
Like, Bam, if I DM'd you one day and I said, you know what? We're going to have Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin, Andre Jordan, all on one team. And on that team, on that very team that I just listed to you, Bam, the Nets' best defender will be a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah, man, I'm watching the game with my pops and that. I'm like, Dad, look at the names on the floor right now. I'm like, this is preposterous. They have, Durant, Irving,